Hello, witches, pagans, light workers, and magical beings. Welcome to another episode of Witches of the Moon. We are in season 13. This is week 7. I am your Tuesday hostess. My name is CORIANN, and this week's topic is numerology. Now, I'm not real familiar with numerology. I'm just starting my studies on that topic. So this has been a good topic for me for studying a little bit and increasing my knowledge on that. So basically what I'm going to be doing in this episode is just giving you a little bit of information that I've recently learned, and hopefully give you some information that's edifying, that will be useful to you, maybe a little bit different than some of the other hosts and hostesses on the channel. So hopefully it'll be beneficial to you. I'm going to give you a little bit of the history, a little bit of some of the uses of numerology and information like that, okay? So hopefully, again, it'll be helpful. Basically, numerology is a type of divination that's used. I think it's most commonly associated with, or most notably associated with, astrology. But that's not the only uses for numerology. When I was selecting my sacred name, I used numerology to determine what name I was going to select as my sacred name, or my magical name, if you will. And basically, it was a very simple formulation. There is a formula that we'll kind of go into a little bit later. I won't disclose it now. No, what do they call those? Oh gosh, I can't think. I lose track when I try to think of things. But I don't want to give it away. So, spoiler alert. There you go. I don't want to spoil it for you, so we'll talk about it in a little bit. But what is numerology? What is that? Again, it's a type of divination that is used basically to study the numbers that appear in your life, either through a combination of letters or actual numbers that appear. Sometimes, have you ever woken up from your sleep and you look at the clock and it's 1:11 in the morning, or 2:22 in the morning, that kind of thing, or 3:33. Those types of things are just, they tend to appear more frequently, I think, to those of us who are in tune to that, which tend to be people who are magical. We tend to tune into the messages of the universe, if you will. And numerology was often thought of as the language of deity. So if your deity was trying to speak to you, oftentimes they would speak to you in numbers, either in a combination of letters that represented numbers, or in events, dates, times, things like that. So basically, numerology is the study of and use of that type of communication or divination, okay? So it's basically seen as a universal language of numbers. And again, it's used a lot in astrology. I have not really had time to study astrology, so my knowledge in how that works is not great, so I'm not even going to attempt to try to breach or cover that bridge. So we'll go into some of the things that I have learned. Basically, when you're breaking down numbers, there is a well, let's talk a little bit about the history, and then we'll talk about the system that's commonly used in numerology. Numerology came from how it actually came about is pretty much a mystery. But it first started showing up, or the earliest accounts of the use of numbers in divination or magical purposes, if you will, fortune, I don't want to say fortune telling, but in prediction or predicting events or giving meaning to events that happen. The earliest written records of that type of numerology can be found in Egypt and Babylon. Other, of course, evidence shows that numerology was used in thousands of years ago in Rome. It's been found in China, Greece, Japan. So numerology is used across continents and cultures to give meaning or find meaning in certain things or to predict certain things. Again, divination. So modern day numerology is usually credited to Pythagoras. He was a Greek philosopher that some people claim that he invented numerology, but the actual term numerology can be credited to Dr. Julian Stenton, who was actually a person the one that came up with that term numerology. He also brought recognition and awareness to numerology in current times, but using Pythagoras' formulation as a basis for numerology. Now, what is Pythagoras, the Pythagoras formula? It is basically the formula that's used to give meaning to letters, numerical meaning to letters. So there is a formula, and I should have probably copied it down, but I can kind of give you an idea of how that looks. If you, like for instance, if you take, the formula is very simple. If you take numbers 1 through 9, okay, run it across, and then under each number put the letter. So number 1 would be A, 2 B, 3 C, so on and so forth, all the way up to 9, which would end in I. Then you go back with the letter J and put that up under the number 1 as well, and go across, continuing until you get to R, which would follow under 9, and then you go back and S would go under 1. So basically the formulation is this. Under 1 would be A, J, and S. Under 2 would be B, K, and T. Under 3 would be C, L, and U. Under 4 would be D, M, and V. Under 5 would be E, N, and W. Under 6 would be F, O, and X, like Fox. That one's easy to remember because I remember Fox. And 7 would be G, P, and Y. 8 would be H, Q, and Z. And 9 only has two letters to remember, which is I and R. Okay, so that's the formula. Again, super simple to write down, just 1 through 9. Put your letters under each one, going A through I to 9, J through R to 9. J is under 1, R is 9, and S through Z, and Z would be under 8 because there's only 2 letters under 9. Okay, so now that you have that formulation, then what you would do is you would take your name, now depending upon which theory you're using or which numerology formulation you're using, and there's several, and we'll kind of touch on that a little bit. Again, I'm not real familiar with the variations yet. I know there are a couple, but the traditional, we're just going to go with the traditional Pathogorium formulation. What you would do is you would take your full given birth name and you would put the numbers under each one of your letters. Then you will add those letters up to get a sum. You take that sum and you add, if it's a double-digit sum, which for most of us it is, would be a double-digit sum, you're going to add the two together and keep adding until you receive one single digit. Okay? But there's a catch. There's always a catch, right? There's always a catch. There's what they call master numbers. And the master numbers are are in numerology, they're the numbers that have a deeper and more powerful meaning. So for instance, the master numbers are 11, 22, and 33. Now let's say you added up your name in numbers and it added up to 22. You're not, by theory, you would add 22 together. That would be 4, and 4 would be your numerology number or your name number. Okay, but if you end up with 11, 22, or 33, you do not add them together. They have their own specific meaning. Okay, so technically 11 is a master number, and it relates to instinct or faith. Okay, so I've heard it said that people who their name number ends up as, or their birth number, we'll go into that in a minute, ends up as 11, they tend to be more empathic, or they have a greater instinct, that kind of thing. 22 is considered the master builder number, and it tends to be related to people who are more ambitious or successful. So if their name number ends up in 22, they tend to be more successful or ambitious. And 33, I think that's a core number, and I'm trying to remember what it means. I want to say something about life path, expression. You're expressive, you are set on your life path, that kind of thing is what I believe that one means. Don't quote me on that. So anyway, so now you've got these master numbers, and you've got the basic Pathogorian theory or formula. So this is the basis of numerology, and it's a very basic format, because again, I'm just learning, so I don't really know. You really want to learn it, probably talk to somebody who's good in astrology. They probably could tell you a little bit more, but I think that's also, again, there's different uses, different ways of using numerology. Also, another thing you want to do to add, you take your birth date, your full birth date, month, date, and year, 2-digit month, 2-digit date, and 4-digit year. Add that up, combine it together until you get a single digit, unless it's a master number. That's also a important number for you as well. These numbers are used as guiding numbers. People use the numbers in relation to different facts, events that can happen in your life, your lucky number, that kind of thing. So it could also give you a direction based on your position and where you're going, that kind of thing. So for instance, if your name number or date number, birth date number, let's say it's 3. Okay, let's say 3 is your name number. Okay, and so you're looking to see if you should maybe apply for this job, or maybe you've applied for several jobs and now you've got interviews at 3 different companies. Okay, and the interviews went well. And I'm just going to break it down to a real simple example. Interviews, well, you've got 3 job offers. Which one do I take? There's a couple of ways to think about it. You can take the name of the company and put those into the Pathogorium formulation, get the number that's relative to that company name, and maybe even take the date that it was established and add that up. And you can find out which one is the most closely related to your name number and birth date number or something like that, and that's a job you take. So that's just a for instance example. So those are some of the things people do to determine which path they're going to take on their life. And generally those things work well. They believe that there is a greater power that's using that as a language to communicate. So, or some people just think it's, just law of averages. I don't know. Depends on your own personal path. But basically, that is what I've learned about numerology to this point. Again, I'm still a student. I will always be a student. I'll always be learning. There's so much. That's kind of the beauty of being in the path, being in the spirituality and the life that we live. We have the opportunity to learn so much. There is so much to learn, and it's evolving and changing constantly. So I've really kind of started digging into numerology. I kind of started studying a little bit. Basically back when I first started my path and I was looking for my magical name, and that kind of gave me a little snippet of it. It seemed overwhelming. I'm not a math fan. I'm not. I hate math. I've gotten into several career paths that have been nothing but math, like optics. Yay me. I didn't know it at the time, and then when I got into it, it was all algebraic math, and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? But now that, flash forward into my life now, I'm wondering if that wasn't maybe a preparation for this path that I'm on, and maybe helping me to be a little bit kinder, a little bit more tolerant of math, and that it might benefit me in a certain way. That, hey, don't judge, don't judge the math. Embrace it, because it may have a meaning. It may have something that's important to you, may have something important to tell you. So I'm like, okay, all right. And so now, funny as it is, I kind of find numerology a bit fascinating. Not a little bit, I actually find it rather fascinating. So who knows? Don't call me a mathematician, because I'm not, but I might embrace it a little bit more. Just because there might be some messages that I need to get in that. A lot of people take their dreams, key things in their dreams, and break them down into numerical language when they keep seeing a certain image or certain something in their dream. They break that down into a numerological translation. So there's a lot of ways, a lot of spins you can take it. Oh, I did promise you guys I was going to talk to you a little bit about some of the other types of numerology. This one I'm going to have to relate to notes on, so give me just a moment. Let me just find it. There's there's a couple of different ones. Some of your most common are Arabic and Hebrew, have their own specific numerology formulas and uses. Also Greek, of course, and in the Greek language there's a lot of numerals. So that is also another major system of numerology. So again, there's a lot of them. There's the Chaldean, I think the next to the Pathogorium Formulation of numerology, Chaldean, I think it's pronounced Chaldean, is another one of the most common numerological or numerology formulas that are used. It's a bit different than Pathogorius, even though it does incorporate some Pathogorius's formulas, some of the formulation in that particular numerology science working, however you want to, whatever you want to call it. So I strongly encourage you to research it, study it if it's something you're interested in. Please, do your research. If you are strong in numerology, if that is, excuse me, if that is something that you're really strong in, please share in the comments information that you have, ways that you use numerology, ways that it can benefit the members who and viewers. Please share. I would be interested to learn and know. So if you have that, or if you're interested, or tell us how your experiences with numerology, please leave a comment. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, and please watch the other hosts and hostesses videos. Again, I'm fairly new at this as far as studying numerology, just getting into it. So hopefully, or maybe they'll have some, I'm sure they'll each have information, and usually different information, which is cool for you to learn from and to gather and absorb. So have fun with it. And until next time, blessed be.